Speaker number 1, Kelsey Robb. Laughter needs no language. Laughter needs no language. Kelsey Robb.
Studio rat. Did your parents ever have a nickname for you when you were growing up? Mine did. My parents so lovingly nicknamed me the studio rat. Looking back, it was actually a very fitting nickname because I would spend hours upon hours in the studio with my dad. My dad's an artist. He makes large, abstract stainless steel pieces, anywhere from 6 to 30 feet tall. I grew up in that studio. I had my own little corner crib and everything. I still remember the sound of that grinder hitting those rough edges, smoothing it out. The pungent aroma of metal binding to metal with each and every weld. To this day, I can't walk past a construction site, hear those sounds, smell those smells, and it takes me back to those days as a studio rat. Fellow Toastmasters, there's 2 lessons that I want to share with you from my time as a studio rat. The first is to find the passion and find a way to make it work. When my parents were first married, they lived out in eastern Colorado, working the land. One day, my dad came in from riding the combine, and he said, "Honey, I found art." My mom looked at him and said, "Who's Art?" They packed up the bags, moved to the city, and against all odds, he found a way to make a living as an artist, doing what he loves. Find a passion and find a way to make it work. The second lesson I learned was to see and understand the world in a new way. Being an artist, my dad sees things through a different prism than the rest of us. He taught me that something as simple as a vase is so much more than just a vase. It's about the space inside the vase. It's about how the vase interacts with its environment. It's about the blue that the vase is and the red that the vase is not. See and understand the world in a new way. 10 years ago, my dad, my best friend, suffered a massive stroke. That first night in the hospital, they told us to say our goodbyes, that he wasn't going to make it through the night. They forgot to tell him that, and he pulled through. After 13 days in the ICU on a ventilator and 3 months in the hospital, we were finally able to bring him home. The stroke had killed 75% of the left side of his brain. It left him without the ability to speak, write, type, communicate in any way. It also left him without the ability to use his right arm and his right leg. When we brought him home, my mom and I didn't quite know what to do. So we did the only thing we knew to do. We brought him out to the studio. Back to those grinders, those welders, that smell still lingering in the air. With me on one side, my mom on the other, my dad in the middle, still too weak to walk on his own, we carried him in. And I will never forget that moment when we crossed that threshold, because for the first time since his stroke, I saw life in his eyes. For the first time since I said my goodbyes, I knew that my dad, my superhero, was just as strong as ever. In that moment, my family and I made the decision that we would do whatever it took to make sure he had a way to communicate his passion. My mom quit her job to run the business. We hired welders to work as his hands. And to this day, he is still making a living doing what he loves, armed with nothing more than a shake of the head, a nod, and a marker in one hand. Find a passion and find a way to make it work. My dad still can't talk to me, but if I've learned nothing else through this experience, it's that communication is about so much more than just the words we say. Communication is about so much more than the words we write. I've learned that a genuine smile from him when I walk in the room is worth more than any words of greeting. A good belly laugh when I tell him a ridiculous story from my day is enough to warm my heart. A good hug after a job well done is worth more than any congratulatory note he could ever write. I've learned that a father's gentle hand, wiping away the tears of a broken-hearted daughter, is worth more than any words of advice he could ever give. See and understand the world in a new way. 10 years later, it's still hard and struggles are undoubtedly real. Not a day goes by that we don't encounter the harsh realities of what a single blood clot did so many years ago. But the lessons I learned as a studio rat to today remain the same. Find a passion and find a way to make it work, no matter how the odds are stacked against you. And see and understand the world in a new way. Because just as a vase is so much more than just a vase, communication is about so much more than the words we say. Something like laughter needs no language because laughter is its own language. And a smile speaks volumes.